So this is what the top of the UAT training site looks like. And again, there are a lot of different libraries that have been added here on the left. We're in the process of cleaning those out, different lists that we created while we were in training. But we also have then all kinds of different sites. So if you want to find your site that you created, you can go here to All Site Content and scroll down to the bottom of All Site Content, all these things that we created together until you get to Sites and Workspaces, and you should have a site here for yourself someplace along the line. So if you go take a look and say, oh, okay, that's my site, or this is my site, that's where you would be working. Okay? Some of you put your names on them. Some of them, you'll know that you put something different or more interesting than that in there. I'm going to start simply by creating a site so that I have one, because I'd like to have just a space that's similar to the kind of place that you would be working. So you won't have to do this, and I'm going to say this is, well, we'll just use my name. This is Ginny's site. So again, if you can't find a site or you never created one, this is what you would do to be able to create your own site that would look just like this, that now whatever you do here doesn't affect anybody else. This is your own play space to be able to try and develop different things. So the very first thing that we want to do today is we want to create a tasks list. The reason that this is an interesting and advanced custom list is that it actually allows you to do a lot of different things that you wouldn't normally think of, because tasks have dates so they're linked to calendars. So we can do some pretty exciting things. So we're going to go to Site Actions, and we're going to, we could either go to View All Site Content and create, or we could go to More Options and create if we wanted to. Either one of those will get us to where we want to go. And we're looking for a list. I can narrow this further by choosing List, or I can just say I'm willing to look through everything because I know these are in alphabetical order and I actually want to create a tasks list. So let's say I was having a small project that we were working on. I could have a tasks list just for that project, or I could have a tasks list for everything that we're doing together on the site. In this site, let's say that these are going to be training tasks. Now remember, I'm creating a URL as well. So I'm going to go ahead and use camel case here and create this and not leave a space so that I don't get a space in my URL. And I'm now in my tasks list. It doesn't look like much, but I'm here. Now if I wanted to add tasks to my project task list, I have lots of different ways to do that. I can say I want to add a new item, and it will open up a form for me to be able to do that, and it takes a little longer the first time. And you're going to see a form like we don't normally see because this is a little bit more complex. This allows me not only to add a title for a task, which is required, but it allows me to sequence tasks by saying that there's a task that has to be done prior to another task. So maybe one of the things that I want to do is I want to schedule a training session for SharePoint owners. And let's say this is high priority and it isn't started, it's not completed. Notice that I can assign tasks to people who are in my site, and this is absolutely lovely to be able to give a task to somebody else. I can write a description of the task that's very complex, and I can choose a start date for when that task needs to be begun. And I get a nice little date picker here to do that. So let's say that we want to make sure that this is started by November 15th. And I can assign this to anybody. I can type my own name in here and see if I can find me. Worked just fine. It resolved my name, so I'm going to go ahead and save this. So there we have a new task item already assigned to me, and it doesn't have any predecessors, but once the training session has been scheduled, maybe we can't do that till we make sure we have a room, so we want to reserve some space. So I'm just going to slide in and say we're going to reserve space for SharePoint owner training. And let's say that's just normal, and we'd like to make sure that we have the space by about the 13th. And since I know Ann Jensen's hanging around here, I'm just going to type her name in, and to make sure it's resolved, I'm going to click check name, and it underlines her in Founder, so we're good to go. And again, I had that text box where I could add more information about this. So now what I want to do is go back to this task and say, you know, I need to edit this item, because this can't be done until we reserve the space. So notice that my tasks are here, and I can say this one has a predecessor, so that when I go in and look at this, I go, oh, okay, that has to be done first. And again, I could have more information here about why that's the case or anything else I'd like to do, and I'm going to go ahead and save this now. So notice that my default view shows what the predecessors are, so I can take a look and say, okay, that reserve space, that has to be done first. I can look at these in any way I want. I can update my tasks then however I would like. So if I have my task partially completed, I can either edit these again. I've been sort of showing you a two-step where we review first and edit, but we can go directly to edit item, and I can say, you know, I've actually started a little bit of the work on that. It's in progress, and maybe it's 10% complete, because that's what I can do while I'm waiting to find out about other things. And notice that it updates here, and it shows as in progress, but I can also switch to a data sheet view and bulk update tasks. So if I'm sitting at the end of a day and trying to say what it was I got done, I can go in and say, okay, this is finished, and so on, as I would in an Excel spreadsheet, which is where a lot of us do some of our task management, that sort of thing. So these are different ways that I can update a task, and that works pretty well. So tasks are nice because I can connect them back to Microsoft Outlook, because if they're common tasks that we're doing together, I can export a task list to Excel. And I actually think that this is one of the better lists that are built in for us to use in Microsoft SharePoint, because it's well thought out and it works incredibly well. If I already have all of my tasks lined out in Microsoft Excel, I can actually copy and paste them here into a task list. All I need to do is make sure that my Excel columns are in the same order, and we'll be talking more about that later. So that's how this tasks custom list gets created, and how you might use it to be able to track either ad hoc tasks that your team is doing or a specific set of project tasks.